can get it so I can see all of it. Okay, so that instruction there, the instruction for the column A, which is the donor/funding organisation column, says enter the name of the organisation that provided the original funding that allowed the activity to occur. For example, DFID or the government of Japan, etc. We've tried to provide lots of examples to make it easier as well. Under project owner, enter the name of the organisation that received the funding from the donor and is responsible for the implementation of this activity. For example, UNICEF, Caritas, Muslim Aid, etc. Many of the columns, I'm not going to read them all out to you, many of the columns have got, most of them have got instructions on the top of the column. So, when you're filling in the form, if you don't know what to do, move your mouse up to the top, over the words, over the column header words, and you should get some instructions pop up. We've tried to make this as obvious as possible, but I know that whenever one person tries to make it obvious, they don't necessarily succeed in making it obvious to everyone else. So I might just go through the columns quickly before I have a go at filling it in. So at the beginning here we have the who columns. So we want the donor, we want the name of the donor/funding or the donor or the funding organisation. We want a project code if you have it. If you don't have it, it doesn't matter. It's not particularly important. We want the project title if you have it. If it doesn't have a title, don't worry about it. Just leave it blank. If there's no title for the project, it's fine if those two ones are blank. We want the project owner, who, as I said earlier, the donor is the organisation that originally provided the funding. So typically it's it's often a foreign government or a very, very large organisation. UNICEF is very seldom, I know that for many of you, it's UNICEF that gave you the money. But where we want to see UNICEF is in this project owner column. If you know the name of the government or that gave UNICEF the money, then that belongs in column A. But if you don't know, just leave it blank. It's not a, I mean, I know that often you will not know who gave UNICEF the money. In column F, we have implementing partner. That's obvious. That's you. That's the people that are doing the activity in the camps. So that's the who information. Then we start getting into some of the more interesting things. The what information. So you've got a choice here in activity type, where you've got a choice between water, sanitation, or hygiene and NFIs. It's all quite simple. It's not particularly complicated. And after you pick one here, so if you pick water, then you've got to pick another one from over here, and there's a pick list of things of the water-related ones for you to choose from. So if it says water here, your choices go from Aquatab and per sachet distribution down to water trucking. But if you've got sanitation here, then your choices go from bathing facility construction down to waste management. And if you've got hygiene and NFIs here, then your choices over here go from buckets distribution down to soap distribution. So this list changes depending on this list. You choose this one first, and then that one there you get a different set of things that you can choose from. It's very structured, and I'm going to show you more about how it's very structured afterwards. This next column, units of measure, is the column, these next three columns in many ways, that in Sindh and Punjab and Baluchistan we were having the most problems with in the previous version. When we asked people what were the units of measure for tube well construction, we got a lot of people, people were just putting in all sorts of things. It was just weird. And we got a lot of people putting in the number of beneficiaries in here. When in fact, the number of beneficiaries, there is a place for the number of beneficiaries that is further over in the page. So what we're after over here, in these activity columns, can everyone read that? Do I need to zoom? Do I need to magnify it more? Are you okay to read it? It's okay? I'll magnify it one more. Okay, so tube wells, it automatically says that the units of measure is the number of wells. If you just, whatever you choose, if we say, I'm going to go back and make this water one. If we choose something different, if we said Aquatab per sachet distribution, the units of measure automatically changes to be number of tablets and sachets. And what you would do is you'd put in the number of tablets or sachets that you planned on distributing in this column, activity target, and the number of tablets, sachets that you had distributed already to date in this column. So you might plan on distributing 500,000 tablets or sachets, and you have distributed 200,000. So this is not the number of beneficiaries. This is the count of the things that's in this column. Okay. So as you change this, so drinking water supply scheme installation changes to say number of schemes. And obviously you're not going to build 500,000 schemes. You might build 50. I don't know what. And you might have already. You might want to build 50, and you might have built 10. Borehole installation, hand pump installation, and the units of measure is number of hand pumps, and you want to build 100, and you have built 40. So,
excuse me, sir. So here the number of hand pumps in units. Suppose if I will also write the 50 number, I will write 50 number of hand pumps. And the targeted is also 50, whether we will achieve 30.
Yeah.
So here...
Okay, so you're saying the number of hand pumps,
yeah.
And you said the target was 50.
No, here activity targeted is also 100. And the unit of measure, number of hand pumps. If I will write 100 number of hand pumps, so whether it's right?
Yeah, it goes here. If your plan is to put 100 hand pumps in a cam.
Yeah, it's my target.
It's your target. Then that's automatically filled in. The computer fills in this one for you. It just says number of hand pumps, and you put your target 100 in this column.
No, I am also telling you. If I will also write the 100 figure in the unit of measures.
Yeah, you cannot write because it will automatically come.
Like if you are planning to give 100 kilograms of sugar to IDPs, you can say, and your unit of measure is kilogram, you can only write kilogram in that unit of measure column. So, like you don't need to put in any unit of measurement in that particular column. As Kim mentioned already, that these gray columns have already been facilitated for the person who is filling this format. Number of unit of measure is already there, and you have just to put in your activity target. If you are going to give 100 kg sugar, just put in 100, and if you have given 40 or 50 kg, just put in 40 in the activity achieved. You don't need to put in 100 kilogram or number of hand pumps in unit of measure. It's just the unit of measure, not the number of units.
And I think it's came automatically when you put the activity, it will come automatically.
Exactly.
And there can be no changing in this section.
Yeah. Yeah. You will find this new one, although this new 4W is quite stubborn, it does its best to make it hard for you to do anything wrong. Okay, it's very fussy.
No,
as much as possible, it makes it very, very difficult for you to do something wrong. So sometimes you might sit there and think and get red with anger, but yeah. You know, if you wanted to write 100 hand pumps, you just can't. You know, it won't let you overwrite this. But if you look at it, if you're what this is saying is, we want to build 100 hand pumps.
But it is for standardization and to achieve the accuracy.
Exactly.
Everybody will do with his own, and then it will be really difficult for us.
Because previously we had been
Yes.
facing this problem that people put in different unit
Yes.
of measurement
Yes.
in that particular column, and now we have sorted out these
Yeah.
unit of measurement for
And
your
I mean,
specification.
previously it was hard to match the data from different IPs, and it was almost impossible to match the data from different provinces, because everybody was doing it a different way. So this one forces everyone to do it the same way. There's one really bad side to this one, which shall I tell you about it, and shall I confess now? Yeah, I will. I will confess now to get it out the way. The worst thing about this 4W is it's more difficult to paste into it than it was in its predecessors. So if I take a row here and copy it, the previous 4Ws, if I wanted to just copy that row down below, I would just go paste down here. This one will not let me do that paste. And this is unfortunate. This is a trade-off I had to make. The reason it will not let me do that paste is because these grey, it's only because of these grey columns. These grey columns have a formula built into them. The only way I could let you do a paste would be to unprotect that formula, in which case you would be able to muck it up by typing fish or something over the top of it. So I've had to protect those grey columns to stop people from accidentally altering those formulas. But because I protected the grey columns, you can't just colour in a row, copy it and paste it. You can still copy and paste, but you have to do it excluding the grey columns, which means doing it in 4 steps. So this is the worst thing about this 4W. So if you want to copy and paste, you can do it in pieces, excluding the grey columns. You see, I managed to do it there. As long as I don't get a grey column, as long as I don't paste a grey column, here I'm copying a grey column, right? And it won't let me paste. If I copy without the grey column, it will let me paste. So you can do copy and paste as long as you're not trying to copy and paste the grey columns. So that's the worst thing about this 4W. And I apologise for it, but there's no way around it without allowing people to, opening ourselves to the risk of people accidentally changing the formula in these grey columns. Let's keep going across. So, water, hand pump installation, number of hand pumps. We want to install, our plan is to install 100, and up to today we've installed 40. Up to the day that you're filling this in, that you know about, we've installed 40. Status, it's pretty obvious. Scheduled, ongoing, suspended or completed. Let's just say it's an ongoing project. Date, it started on the 1st of January 2013. The plan is that it finishes on the 31st of March 2013. I've adopted, I need a piece of paper. I need one, people offer me a piece of paper to write one. Can I just use that for a moment? And a pen. Has anyone got a pen I can use? Oh, fantastic. Here's a problem I had with the previous what date is that in Pakistan? 8 October Okay, because I'm getting quite a lot of people telling me that that's 10 of August 2012. Well, I can just say that there is a lot of variety across Pakistan. Because I can, looking at the data I have had in from provinces, I've got most people telling me that that's 8 October, but I have got some people clearly, when they fill that in, they clearly mean 10 August. So I have set this up so that it always displays in the format with the month written in the middle. Now you don't have to enter it with the month written in the middle. You can go 1 January 2013 and it will automatically convert it into that standardized format. But you will find I think you will find it impossible to enter a month that doesn't, a date that doesn't look like this format. Why did I choose this particular format? It's because it's just very pragmatic. It's the narrowest way that you can display a date unambiguously. So it just means that when you're printing this or viewing it on screen, it uses the least space. So this is the narrowest form. Let's try it. 1/1/2013 automatically changed to. Okay. And if you're putting in, what was my example? 8th of 10. So 8/10/2012, which was my example, automatically changes it to 8 October, which is what most of you said. Now some people around the country are going to get a little bit of a shock when they see that, but they'll quickly work out that they just need to change the order of the numbers around. At least it's obvious what it is. Okay, start date and end date. Province and district. Oh, it's all really obvious. You select your province from a drop-down box. There's FATA, there's Khyber. I don't know how to pronounce it. Can I just call it KP? Is that okay? Okay. So you select. You don't have to re-type all these things. You're selecting from a drop-down list. As you choose, again, the next list is automatically altered. Okay, so you don't have to scroll through all the provinces in Baluchistan. Thank you. So choose from drop-down lists. And again, for the Tehsil or Taluka, you're choosing from a drop-down list. The last two, the Union Council and the village/camp name, we're not putting in drop-down lists for. That's because we couldn't find reliable, up-to-date data on every single Union Council in Pakistan. They seem to change often enough, and there was enough uncertainty about it that we didn't want to put in a drop-down list. So you enter those ones as free-form text. You could put in fish if you really wanted to. Okay, so these first three are drop-down lists. The last two are just whatever text you want to enter. The minimum standard we're expecting is province and district. Please always give us province and district. But if you can give us Tehsil and Union Council and camp/village as well, that would be much appreciated. But I know that in particular in the monsoon emergencies, when things first break out in that first opening week, all they may know is the number of hygiene kits they're distributing in a district. They may not have narrowed it down any further than that. Now, remember, over here, these are the count. These are the count of that. These are the count of the number of things that you're building or things that you're handing out. Further across the page here is where we get into beneficiaries. So over here we have the columns for the number of individuals targeted, and over here we have the columns for the number of individuals reached. In this 4W, never, ever, 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 ever give us the number of households or the number of families. Convert it to individuals. So if you knew that you were targeting 1,000 households, convert it. Please don't put 1,000 in there. Convert 1,000 households into the number of individuals. Multiply by the average. I understand there's a big debate going on in FATA at the moment about what the average should be, and you've temporarily settled on 7 or permanently settled on 7. So if you know it's 1,000 households, then it's 7,000 individuals. Everyone happy? Please don't tell me, don't ever put in household. There is no place in this 4W that is ever expecting households or families. In the previous 4W,